Okay, we have an 06 F450 with a 6.0 that has problems with starting. It's long crank to start, and once it gets hot, it's a crank no start. I haven't diagnosed the problem with a reader. However, I did order the bulletproof parts, which included the EGR and oil cooler that goes from oil to air. So we'll eliminate the oil cooler that depends on the coolant to cool the oil. Gonna do a bunch of stuff, dummy plugs, all the upgrades, snap to connect, the screen, just about all the weak links on this truck, and hopefully I'll have this truck up and running. I'd like to say it's gonna take me about maybe a day and a half, but since I'm doing this video, it might take me up to like a week to complete the project. So this is for information purposes. Use my experience and my mistakes for your benefit. As you can tell by the white buildup right there, there's been a lot of pressure in that cooling system. I think it's due to the plugged oil cooler EGR making it hot as hell. So we'll start off by removing basically all this air intake, battery, everything has to come off basically to have access to the oil cooler, which sits right around there more or less. Underneath the driver's side of the radiator, this thing's clogged up, is the drain valve for the radiator. We need to drain that on the radiator, so we will have water in the system since we're gonna mess with it. Took this screw completely off. It'll make a mess right now. Just dirt. I don't want to be rolling around the mud. Also, you can tell by the color of the coolant, it's not the correct one, not for this engine anyways. It's supposed to be a reddish color, so that indicates that the previous owner was probably not knowledgeable about that. Probably putting regular hose water into it, and that might have been what clogged up the oil cooler and making it heat up towards the very end when I got it. But hopefully these parts from Bulletproof will get that problem solved. I'll have a review for that. While we're waiting to drain out the coolant, let's get a 5/16 and remove the reservoir. As soon as I started pulling this line, I heard plastic breaks, so I might as well take this wire out of the way because it might break. There we go. Pushing it under worked best for me right now. Now let's try to pull this out. Is there anything connected to it? No. Should come out. And that hose seems to go into that hole. I took out the dipstick out to make.
Disconnecting this bottom line of this to the reservoir, it should disconnect completely from the truck. Pull that hose up. This should free our. We're replacing the EGR and the oil cooler and the STC. All this crap has to go bit by bit, so it doesn't matter which one you swing at it first, just as long as you take everything out. I like doing these videos because for one, I get to help people that have questions. They can learn from my fuck-ups. And two, I have a point of reference for when I do fuck up. I can always refer back to the video and put it back together before the wife gives me shit for not fixing it and she's screwing it up even more.
This line was a little tight. It is like a hard plastic. But like Diesel Tech Ron says, just stick a lever pretty much, hook it into the engine loop right there, and just yank away. Same thing will probably go for the bottom part.
He says to put a heater or some sort of hair dryer or something to soften it up, because it is pretty hard plastic. However, here in South Texas, where it's March and it's already getting to 100 and some, it shouldn't be a problem.
Going to disconnect one of the lines that goes to the turbo intercooler, but the ratchet doesn't fit, or it's actually too deep, so I use a gear wrench type wrench to more or less get it to where it can reach. And then I'm going to disconnect this one right here, remove it, and then work on the alternator. One of the first things I did was remove the batteries because they're both dead. It's been a while since this truck was cranked on. So I'm having them charged up as we speak. But that leaves the alternator fully discharged. There's no worries of it arcing on my ass. The fun part of taking a belt off, grab it with your left hand from up here, right under the alternator, and there's a tab right here that you push up while pulling on the belt. There you go. And now the belt is loose. So like a little 1/4 inch or 3/8 bar that you have to lock it in place. You can see the little tab holding the belt tensioner in place. So now we can work on our alternator.
Stubborn sons of bitches. It's a half inch socket for alternator. This is one stuck. Need both hands. Wow, that thing's really rugged. Problem arises, just gotta get a bigger stick. It's all about leverage. It's important to hold it down so you don't strip it. There you go. My stick is bigger than yours. Leverage. I don't think this is a good sign. Probably water going in there somehow.
Like, just press here and remove. Be very patient with these plastic parts. They do tend to break, especially since they're old and brittle and plastic. Like I said, just press on this, and in my case, I actually had to stick a little pick in there and help it pry out. It's still in one piece. So we're good to go. We're pulling the fuel injector control module, or FICM. 10mm socket.
The driver's side rear bolt right here was a bit hard to access just because of the water line that runs through there, and the fact that I was trying to use a 1/4-inch ratchet has very little leverage. I actually had to get a bigger one, 3/8 for the 10mm bolts.
The whole thickum should come off. Well, there should be 3 cables. Probably have better access to the other side. The thickum has 3. There they are. And looks like you just have to push this in and pull them out. Okay, so to remove the thickum, the wiring is actually like a pinch type. You have to pinch from this side and from this side. It's got 2 sides, 2 locking tabs basically. I found it easier to slip my right hand through this side to click the tab while assisting with the left hand on this side. It's a little tight in there, and I can't really find a way to hold the camera while I remove the wiring loom. Up next, we're going to remove the turbo. Okay, now the turbo has 3 10mm bolts attaching it to the pedestal. One is back there. I don't know if you can tell where the 6-inch extension is at. It's more towards the driver's side. It's got this one in the front. I guess it's the easiest one to access. You can tell where the wrench is at. And another one that is back there, right there. Okay, take off the turbo. First, let me get this wire out of the way. It's just a little simple clip. Okay, now this is probably what's causing my truck to surge. Is there anything in there? No. Usually it goes from like crack, 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 like I don't like surge. And it's supposed to have like a little white or blue cap to this. So this is probably what's causing it. I'm gonna have to replace these little hookups. I'm not a tech, so I have no idea what the hell they do or what it's called, but out of the research that I've done, it needs that. Now the turbo. Okay, this fucking phone just deleted about 10 minutes worth of video. What we did was remove the radiator brackets to remove the shroud, the fan shroud. I almost broke this little nipple right here, so my suggestion would be, after you take off these 2 bolts from the back, this is removed. It'll create a little wedge right here where you can actually insert some sort of crowbar or something and pick it up from this side to crack it open, and then work your way around these nipples over here to take the shroud out. Next you get I believe it's a 9/16, and we're gonna go basically through here for the 2 bolts that are up here. From the bottom on the driver's side, there seems to be missing. There should be a bolt there. It's missing, so I don't know if it's broken in there or the previous owner just took it to a real sloppy shop.
The bottom bolt. Let's see if I can get a good shot of it. You can see it should be right there, but the thing's already come off. There should be a bolt right here. Ideally, it would be to hold it with a crescent or some sort of wrench while loosening it, but I think, yeah, look at it. It's not even, wow, it's pretty sad.
Okay, now with the added space that we have, a whole 2 inches maybe, we proceed by taking off the rest of the clips. Very careful. Plastic is... This truck actually overheated on me, so I don't expect the plastic to hold up that much since it's basically cooked. This one you pry it from the bottom. Stick a little pick down here, right here, to release the lock. This one you press down on here to release the lock. Got those 2 out of the way. Gotta do something with the oil pressure. I'm assuming one's got 2 cables. The one that goes to this one has 2 cables. The one that goes to this one has 1. Like I said, I'm not a tech, so I have no idea what their job is to do, but I know they do go to the oil cooler down there. This wire seems to have the same type of lock where you have to kind of pry it from right here to take it out. If these wires fight you, chances are they're just stuck. So just push them back in so that the lock will have some play, and then you'll be able to just take it out and wiggle it off. Document how the wire loom was. For example, these 2 wires right here were actually through the bottom of this here fuel line. One would go, this one would actually go to where the thermostat's at, whatever, I guess this one, and the bigger one obviously went down to the fan connector, and this one went there. But just remember, these actually were looped through the bottom. There's another cable up over here with the same type of lock where you have to actually kind of pry it open from there. These little zip ties indicate that somebody already fucked with a damn fuel system, so it's to keep these from sliding down and having to go fish them. I don't know much of the history of this truck, but hopefully I'll get it up and running without overheating, because it pulls real well. It's a nice truck. It's just very neglected. Well, it looks like everything's been disconnected or unplugged. Now the scary part is I guess what goes to every injector is this. They have these little clips over here where you press it down and it should slide out. There's another technique where you actually put a screwdriver to it and take the clip out completely and then pull it out. I don't think I'll try that. That would be for somebody that's more professional. I'm just a backyard mechanic. Oh, there's one that goes to the ICP. Oh shoot! Gotta unplug this one. Has a little heat shield around it. And a little clip. Snaps back. And there you go. It's out. Now this is actually around that heat shield over here. Something's holding it. It's probably bolted down or something. There you go. All right, that's the last of it. Now the scary part, the actual injectors. Okay, let's attempt this. So you press on here, that releases it. There we go. Awesome. I didn't break anything. Awesome. 7 more to go. And it's tight in there. All I can say is don't lean into it. More or less have a controlled type of pressure on the spring lock wire deal, so you don't run the risk of breaking it. Grounding cable back here, it needs to come off too. This whole side, the driver's side rail, the whole thing, all 4 of them came out pretty easily with just the use of a 1/4 inch small flathead screwdriver. That same screwdriver was used for the passenger 2 rear ones, and this 6 inch, a little bit longer, to reach under this whole assembly to unlock the wire. To remove this fuel lines from the secondary filter that's located next to the oil filter, use an 11/16, kind of tap it to break it. Otherwise you're gonna need like a backup wrench so you don't screw it up. Like I said, there's signs of it being worked on already. It already has some
like zip ties to keep the bolt of the screw from actually sliding down and, you know, having to fish it. It just stays right there. Same goes for these other 2 on the other side. I don't know about this one. This looks real delicate. It's like brass. We'll see. We'll find out. There's whatever residual fuel that was left in that little reservoir. I should have prepared some rags or something. I'm working on dirt, so it doesn't really matter. This brass one's actually a 3/4 inch. Important note, I assume, on this one, be aware that there's like a copper washer on both sides. You can tell that one right there. One on each side of this, I guess it's a return line. Supply or return, it's one or the other.
Within final fuel line, I don't know what size it is, probably like 7/8 or something. I'm just gonna use a crass end to break it. Now the turbo pedestal seems to be mounted by only 3 bolts, 3 10mm. One's located right there, and the other 2 are located right on this footing right here. I don't know if you can see it. There's one there and another one right there. These are the 2 bolts. 1, 2. The turbo drain back tube is located right around right here. It was easy to wiggle out, disconnect it. It's gonna be replaced anyways by a bulletproof one, so I don't really care much about it. 2 out of the 3 pedestal bolts have been pretty hard to take off, but don't forget about our friend leverage. Correction, there's 4 bolts. I missed one. Earlier I lost some video, but this goes into, I believe it's a CPS sensor or some shit like that. It's supposed to have like a little white or blue sleeve on it. This one doesn't have it, neither does the one on this side over here. It's also supposed to be the same thing. That might cause a truck to go surging from like a crack, 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 crack. I believe that's it. That's what I've read, that's what I've seen on videos. That might be the likely cause. I'll have to replace these ends. For now, we're just gonna concentrate on removing the oil filter housing. I'm loosening the EGR clamp, one that leads to the exhaust. Hopefully I'll get to remove the EGR today. Okay, it's loose already. We want to keep everything as clean as possible around here.
Okay, the EGR is connected to the oil cooler. And it's something about lining the lines with this one right here, I think. There we go. Okay. That was a lot easier than I thought. Alright. Now let's start removing the oil filter housing.
I only see 445 Torx bolts holding the filter housing in. Now we've already disconnected the fuel lines. So it should just slip out.
Now I believe this part's going to be completely bypassed by the system that it's going to have. This might be the drain that they're talking about whenever you use the wrong cover on the oil filter. Most of the aftermarket covers, it'll pop up and hence your oil will be bypassed, not even go through the filter if it's not putting pressure up against it.
Alright, I think it's time to take off these bolts. Time to go for the... Gonna mark them just for the hell of it. If I can, I like to put the bolts back because one, keeps me from losing them, and two, I don't have to worry about remembering where they go. Okay, now time to remove the intake. Be careful of the oil filter housing. You don't want to break that, especially if you're going to use it again. One final step in to remove the wire loom. Just take off this nut. I believe it's a 10 millimeter. To remove this, that'll give you the space to actually move the wires out of the way, leaving the intake by itself, and hopefully, yes, it's ready for removal. Don't forget that nut right there. It's connecting something to it. Make sure this is very clean. Take your time cleaning this. I like to use a plastic spatula so I don't scratch any important metal parts. The screen is busted, as you can tell, but at least the piece is held on, so I don't have to worry much about my high pressure oil pump being the filter for this. But it is obviously torn and very dirty. I ordered the air to oil cooling system. Came in 2 big boxes. One big box for the cooling system itself, and another box for the EGR, which I have already returned my the original one for $50 credit. So let's see what this has in here. It's probably a bracket for where the oil cooler is going to sit. I ordered these are new connectors. That's a separate. And hoses. Bracket. Probably where the oil filter is going to sit. A new drain pipe, drain tube for the turbo. That was separate also. And another bracket for, we'll find out. Bunch of gaskets, bolts. Oh, this is for the high pressure oil pump. This is a snap to connect STC. And these 2 boxes. Comes well packaged on the foam insulation. And there we have it. Wicks filter. And this is what I need right now. This is for the oil cooler. And it even comes with a nice instruction manual. Hopefully it's not that intimidating. A lot of illustrations. All right. Can't wait to get started on this. Bunch of fittings. Oil cooler itself. New intake gaskets. And EGR gaskets as well. Bunch of goodies. All right. Oh, nice. Nice little stickers. Bolt them. That's nice. So I can now only assume that this is I feel like if it's Christmas. There it is. oil cooler itself. Nice. All right. Very good. Okay, we have to take the oil temperature sensor and the oil pressure sender from the old unit to the new transfer block. So I am going to use a 1 1/16 socket for that one and a 7/8 for that one. It's a little loose, but that's all I have to work with right now. I haven't priced these sensors, but I'm pretty sure it's something I don't want to waste money on. So I'll just try to be as gentle as possible. So I don't want to break it. I'll clean this up. I'm ready to install on the new sender. Again. Until this sensor is a little bit damaged right here. It's missing this part. We'll see if it works. Okay. This is the oil transfer block. Gotta install the oil temperature. There's an oil temperature gauge sensor. It's gonna go right there. And the oil pressure will go over here. Now there's no specific torque. So I'm just going to tighten them a bit. I'm not going to go too crazy on it. Right there. And it sits flush with the bottom of the oil transfer block. Same thing for there's very little space left there for the socket. Flush. That's good. In case I haven't stressed it enough, it is imperative you keep this place super clean. I already blew out everything, but I'm still going to try to vacuum everything out. Make sure it's clean. It is very important to keep this place very clean throughout the whole project. Even though I already shot back most of the gunk out, most of the little pieces of debris or grease. It doesn't take that much for the junk to go in there and block your, the ICP screen. Blow out any holes. Make sure to catch all the cryptic flies out of there.
Okay, I laid a rag to recline the oil transfer block because I don't want to break the sensors that are fresh installed. Get some grease ready to install this part, which is a gasket for the oil transfer block. Just gonna use some
A little bit of grease in the curves. Just push it in. It's double-sided, like it has a flat part to it. So you just don't want to roll it. Make sure it just lands flat. Go over it several times because there's places where I'm noticing that it either didn't seat all the way in, or we're just trying to pop out. And we're ready to install. Cannot stress enough, this has to be clean. If it were up to me, I'd probably do it in a surgery room. It's got to be sterile clean. Ideally, you just want this to sit down, straight down. Okay, there's 10 bolts. There's 2 different torque readings for these bolts. If they are 6mm bolt size, and I'm assuming it's like this, the thread side. If it's 6, it's 10 Newton meters or 89 inch-pounds. Or in my case, they're 8mm, so they go torque to 22 Newton meters or 16 foot-pounds. I guess I'll just start them off by hand. I took the liberty of painting them just for the hell of it. None of the manuals have a specific pattern, so I will just go crisscross. That's that.